My son sold it for $12,000 yesterday. Sold his father's boat, the boat Robert poured his soul into for 15 years, so his wife could have a birthday trip to the Maldives. But one phone call this morning changed everything. The man on the line said he had Robert's boat. Said there was something my husband wanted me to know. Something he hid before he died. But before we continue, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and write in the comments where you're watching this video from. We love to know how far our stories travel. My name is Carol Bennett, and this is how my dead husband saved my life and taught my son a lesson he'll never forget. I'd been standing at the kitchen window of Derek and Amber's house when I saw my son load tools into his truck. It was Tuesday morning, 7:30. Amber was still asleep upstairs. Derek thought I was still sleeping too, but I'd been awake since 4. 6 months of sleeping in someone else's house, and I still couldn't get used to it. I watched Derek drive away, then made coffee. The kitchen was modern, all stainless steel and white quartz counters. Nothing like the warm kitchen Robert and I had shared for 42 years. That kitchen was gone now, sold 3 months ago. We can get so much more for it if you're not living there, Derek had said. The market's hot, and Mom, you shouldn't be alone anyway. Not after Dad. Amber had been there too, her hand on Derek's arm, supportive, concerned. Carol, we have plenty of space. You'd be doing us a favor. We barely use the guest room, so I sold the house. Our house. The one Robert and I bought when we were 25 with a VA loan and dreams bigger than our bank account. Sold it for $320,000. The money went into an investment account Derek and Amber set up. Better returns than savings, Derek explained. We'll manage it for you. I signed the papers because I was 67 and alone and terrified of being a burden. The coffee finished brewing. I poured a cup, stood at that window watching fog roll through the pine trees. 6 months since Robert's heart attack. 6 months since I found him in the garage, slumped over his workbench, the smell of sawdust still in the air. The doctor said it was quick. Massive coronary. He probably didn't feel anything, but I felt everything. My phone buzzed on the counter. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Mrs. Bennett? Carol Bennett? A man's voice. Rough around the edges, like he'd been crying. Yes? This is Mike Patterson. I don't know if you remember me. I was at Robert's funeral. I did remember him, vaguely. A tall man with gray hair standing in the back of the funeral home. He'd left before I could greet anyone properly. I remember. I need you to come to Harbor Bay Marina. Right now, if you can. Slip 47. My chest tightened. Why? I have Robert's boat. The coffee cup nearly slipped from my hand. What? Your son brought it to me yesterday. Mrs. Bennett, there's something Robert wanted you to know. Something he left for you. Please, can you come? Yes. I'll be there in 30 minutes. I hung up, stared at the phone. Derek had told me yesterday over dinner. Casual, like it was nothing. Mom, I sold the boat. I'd been setting plates on the table. Stopped mid-motion. What? Dad's boat. I sold it. He wouldn't look at me. We needed the money. Amber had been right there, touching his shoulder. It's my birthday month, Carol. Derek wanted to do something special. We're going to the Maldives. She'd smiled like we were sharing good news. 2 weeks at an overwater villa. It's a dream trip. Your father's boat was just sitting there. Derek's voice had gone defensive. In a slip we're paying $400 a month for. It doesn't run. It's been sitting there for 6 months since Dad died. It runs. My voice came out quiet. Dangerous. Your father had that engine running perfectly. Well, it's done now. Amber's voice was bright, pleasant. The buyer paid cash, $12,000. That's quite fair for an old boat. I'd sat down at the table. Couldn't speak. Couldn't look at them. Derek's hand touched mine. Mom, I know you're upset, but Dad would understand. He'd want us to live our lives, not get stuck in the past. I'd pulled my hand away, went to my room, lay in the dark, listening to them laugh over dinner, and now, standing in their kitchen holding my phone, I knew why Mike Patterson had called. I got dressed quickly. Jeans, sweater, running shoes. Left a note on the counter. Went for a walk. Carol, the drive to Harbor Bay Marina took 20 minutes. Morning traffic was light on Highway 101. I passed the hospital where I'd rushed Robert 6 months ago. Past the grocery store where we used to shop every Saturday. Past our old street, and I made myself not look. The marina parking lot was nearly empty. A few early fishermen loading gear, one couple untying a sailboat. The air smelled like salt and diesel and creosote. I walked down D-Dock. My legs knew the way even though my brain was spinning. 42 years of marriage, and half of those weekends were spent here. Me reading on the dock while Robert worked below deck. Him calling up facts about marine plywood or electrical systems. Me pretending to be bored but secretly loving how passionate he was. Slip 47 came into view. The boat sat there, gleaming in the weak morning sun. The 1972 Chris-Craft Commander looked exactly how Robert left it. 42 feet of teak and mahogany and fiberglass, painted deep blue with white trim. The name on the stern, Carol's Dream, he'd named it after me on our 30th anniversary. Surprised me at the marina with freshly painted letters. 15 years I've been working on her, he'd said. 15 years and I finally know what to call her. Our retirement plan. Our dream. You and me sailing down the coast when we're old and gray. I was 67 now. Gray everywhere. And Robert was gone. A man stood on the deck. Tall, maybe 60, gray hair, work jacket. He saw me and his face changed. Relief and grief mixing together. Carol. Mike? He nodded, climbed down to the dock. Thank you for coming. We stood there awkwardly for a moment. Then he pulled me into a hug. I hadn't expected it, but I didn't pull away either. When he let go, his eyes were red. I'm sorry, he said. I should have talked to you at the funeral. I couldn't. I just couldn't. It's okay. No. He shook his head. It's not. Robert saved my life 23 years ago, and I didn't even speak at his funeral. I waited. Mike looked at the boat, then back at me. 1999. I was 41 years old with a dream and no money. Wanted to start a marine brokerage. Buy and sell classic boats. Every bank laughed me out of their office. Bad credit. No collateral. Just a business plan I wrote on bar napkins. He wiped his eyes. Robert was a customer. Came in looking at boats for sale. We got talking. I told him my situation. He went to the bank the next day and co-signed a loan for $50,000. Risked his own credit and savings for a stranger. My throat tightened. That was Robert. That was exactly Robert. I paid back every penny, Mike continued. Built Patterson Marine Brokerage into something real. But the debt went deeper than money. Your husband believed in me when no one else did. He never told me. He wouldn't have. That's who he was. Mike gestured to the boat. When your son came to my office yesterday with this commander, I knew it the second I saw it. Robert used to stop by my shop every few months, show me progress photos on his phone. Tell me about the restoration. He was so proud of this boat. Derek said you paid $12,000. Mike's face tightened. Your son had no idea what he was selling. I asked him, do you know what this is? Do you know what it's worth? And he said $12,000 sounded fair for a boat that old. What's it really worth? Mike looked me dead in the eye. This is a fully documented 1972 Chris-Craft Commander 42, restored to museum quality over 15 years. Original mahogany, rebuilt engine, custom teak decking. He paused. This boat is worth $185,000, maybe more to the right buyer. The dock seemed to shift under my feet. I sat down on the bench, just sat. Mike sat next to me. I paid him the $12,000. He was desperate. Kept talking about a Maldives trip. His wife's birthday. I didn't tell him the real value because... He trailed off. Because what? Because 2 years ago, Robert asked me to help him with something. Something secret. I looked at him. Mike stood, held out his hand. Come aboard. I need to show you. We climbed onto the boat. The teak deck was warm under my feet. The smell hit me immediately. Varnish, teak oil, that particular scent that was just Robert. My eyes burned. Mike led me below deck to the main cabin. Everything was exactly how Robert left it. The galley with its brass fittings. The navigation station with charts still laid out. The salon with cushions I'd helped him reupholster in navy canvas. Here. Mike stopped at the navigation station. 2 years ago, Robert called me. Said he needed help installing something. Wouldn't tell me why. Just said if anything ever happened to him, I needed to make sure you knew about it. He pressed something behind the chart plotter. A panel clicked. Swung open. Behind it was a marine safe. Built right into the bulkhead. Hidden completely. I helped him install this, Mike said. Took us a whole weekend. He swore me to secrecy. Said I couldn't tell anyone. Not even you. Not unless, his voice cracked. Not unless he died. Mike stepped back. I've never looked inside. Robert said it was for you. Only you. He gave me the combination in a sealed envelope. Told me to give it to you if this day ever came. He pulled an envelope from his jacket pocket. My name in Robert's handwriting. I took it with shaking hands. Opened it. Inside was a combination and a note. Carol, if Mike is showing you this, I'm gone. I'm so sorry, but I'm still protecting you. I'll always protect you. The combination is our anniversary. Open it alone. Trust Mike and forgive Derek. He's a victim too. I love you forever. Robert Orr anniversary. June 14th, 1981. 06:14 to 81. Mike squeezed my shoulder. I'll be on deck. Take all the time you need. He left. Climbed the ladder up to the cockpit. I heard his footsteps above me, then nothing. I knelt in front of the safe. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely work the combination dial. 6, 14, 81. The lock clicked. I pulled the door open. Inside was a waterproof bag, heavy, and a manila envelope. And something else, a smaller envelope with my name. I pulled out the letter first. Several pages folded. Robert's handwriting covered every inch. I sat on the salon bench and started reading. Carol, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry I didn't tell you while I was alive. You would have wanted to handle it together, and I know that. But I needed to protect you from this until I had absolute proof. I couldn't risk being wrong. I couldn't risk hurting Derek unless I was certain. I've been investigating Amber for 2 years. She's not who she says she is. Her real name is Jessica Turner. She's done this before, 3 times that I've found so far. I've spent every spare moment for the last 24 months tracking her, documenting her, building a case. In the manila envelope, you'll find everything I've gathered. Photos, documents, contact information for her previous victims. Their stories are the same, Carol. Every single one. She targets men with aging parents and family assets. That's her specialty. She researches them first, becomes exactly what they need. Then she isolates the elderly parent, builds a case that they're declining, convinces the son to sell everything for the parent's care. Then she disappears with the money. She's going to target our house, Carol. That's her pattern. She'll convince Derek that you're declining, that you need expensive care, that the house should be sold to pay for it. Then she'll vanish. I confronted her once, carefully, watching her reaction. She's very, very good at what she does. She deflected, made me seem paranoid, convinced Derek I was being overprotective. Derek won't believe me without ironclad proof. And I don't have it yet. I'm still building the case. The waterproof bag contains $275,000 in cash. That's from the sale of my father's business in 2022. I told Derek I invested it in mutual funds. I didn't. I kept it liquid in case we needed to fight her. This is your money, Carol, your security. She can't touch it. Mike is a good man. Trust him. He'll help you. There's also contact information for Catherine Sullivan, a private investigator and old friend. She's been helping me gather evidence. If I'm gone and you're reading this, call her. She'll know what to do. Protect yourself. Protect our son. He's a victim in this too, Carol. He doesn't see it. He loves her. He thinks she loves him. I'm sorry I carried this alone. I'm sorry I died before I could finish protecting you. But I'm still here. I'm still watching over you. And I'm giving you every tool I have to fight back. I love you. Forever, Robert. I read it 3 times. Then I opened the manila envelope with shaking hands. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. Amber at a wedding. But not her wedding to Derek. A different wedding. Different dress, different venue. She was standing next to a man I didn't recognize. Older, gray hair, maybe 55. They were cutting a cake together. Another photo. Another wedding. Different man. This one younger, maybe 45. Amber in a different dress. Marriage certificates. Copies. Jessica Turner married Thomas Reed. Portland, Oregon, April 2019. Jessica Turner married Walter Hayes. Seattle, Washington, March 2021. Jessica Turner married Derek Bennett. Everett, Washington, October 2023. 3 marriages. 3 different men. My hands started shaking harder. More documents. Newspaper clippings from Portland. Local man reports elderly mother's savings stolen by daughter-in-law. The photo showed Thomas Reed, the man from the first wedding photo. Dated December 2020. Another clipping from Seattle. Family home sold in suspected fraud case. A photo of Walter Hayes, dated August 2022. Pages of Robert's handwriting. Notes. Dates. Observations. November 2021. Amber asks. Derek about house value. Casual, but noted. January 2022. Amber comments. Carol seems tired lately. Carol is fine. March 2022. Amber leaves brochure for Sunset Meadows Assisted Living on counter. Claims it fell out of her bag. July 2022. Derek asks me about putting Carol's name on our accounts for safety. I refuse. October 2022. Amber suggests, Carol is forgetting things. Derek starting to believe it. At the back of the envelope, contact information. Handwritten, Margaret Reed, Thomas's mother, Portland, Oregon. Phone number Dorothy Hayes, Walter's mother, Tacoma, Washington. Phone number Catherine Sullivan, private investigator, Seattle, Washington, and Robert's final note. Paperclip to the front, need concrete proof before telling Derek. He won't believe me without it. She's too skilled. If you're reading this and I'm gone, please finish what I started. Call these people. Get their stories. Protect our son. R.I. sat there in the cabin of Robert's boat, surrounded by 15 years of his work, holding 2 years of his investigation, and I cried. Not quiet tears. Deep, wrenching sobs that shook my whole body. My husband had known. For 2 years he'd known. He'd carried this burden alone. Died before he could finish. Left me everything he had. The waterproof bag sat heavy on my lap. I opened it. Cash. Stacks of hundreds bound with rubber bands. I didn't count it. Didn't need to. Robert said $275,000, and Robert never lied. Above me, Mike's footsteps shifted. He was giving me space but staying close. I wiped my face. Put everything back in the safe except the letter and the contact information. Closed it carefully. Then I climbed up to the cockpit. Mike was sitting on the bench, looking out at the water. He stood when he saw my face. Oh, Carol. He knew, I said. Robert knew about her. For 2 years, Mike nodded slowly. I suspected. He asked me strange questions near the end. About safes, about hiding things, about how to leave evidence if something happened to him. Did he tell you what he found? No, he said the less I knew, the safer I'd be. But Carol, the day before his heart attack, he called me. Said, Mike, if anything happens to me, get that boat to Carol. Make sure she opens the safe. Promise me. You think she... I couldn't finish the sentence. I think stress kills, Mike said carefully. I think carrying a secret like that for 2 years would put enormous pressure on a man's heart. We were both quiet. What are you going to do? Mike asked finally. I looked at the boat. At 15 years of Robert's careful work, at the name on the stern, Carol's dream. I'm going to finish what he started, I said. I'm going to protect my son. And I'm going to make sure Amber, or Jessica, or whatever her name is, never does this to another family. Mike pulled out his phone. Then you're going to need help. I know people. Robert left me a private investigator's number. Catherine Sullivan? I looked at him surprised. Mike smiled grimly. Robert wasn't the only one who started asking questions about Amber. When I saw Derek was engaged to her, something felt off. I did some digging. Found Kat. She's good. The best. Did you tell Robert? Didn't need to. He found her first. They were working together. Mike looked at me. Carol, your husband was building a case. A real case. Legal, documented, airtight. He was 3 months from having enough to take to the police when he died. Then we have 3 months of work to finish. We have more than that. Kat never stopped. Mike pulled up a contact on his phone. She's been watching Amber since Robert died, documenting everything, waiting for her to make a move. Call her, I said. Now, Mike dialed. Put it on speaker, a woman answered on the second ring. Mike? Kat. I'm here with Carol Bennett. Silence on the other end. Then quietly. Oh, thank God. I was starting to worry we'd be too late. Too late for what? I asked. To stop her, Kat said. Amber's accelerating. I've been monitoring her online activity. She's researching one-way flights to Costa Rica. She's planning to move in the next 3 to 4 weeks. My stomach dropped. That soon? Derek sold the boat yesterday, right? That's her tell. She's cashing out the small assets first. Testing his compliance. The house comes next. My house already sold. 3 months ago, I know. That money went into an account Derek and Amber control. $320,000. It's still there for now. But Carol, Amber's set up to transfer it offshore. She's just waiting for the right moment. I gripped the phone. How do we stop her? We finish Robert's case, Kat said. We get the evidence. We get Derek to see the truth. And we make sure she goes to prison, not Costa Rica. How long do we have? If we move now, just enough time. But Carol, you need to understand something. Derek won't believe you. Not at first. She's had 2 years to build trust, to isolate him from reality. We need to be strategic. Tell me what to do. First, call Margaret and Dorothy. Get their stories on record. Then we meet, all of us. Tomorrow morning. Mike's office. We build the timeline, we document everything, and we wait for Amber to make her move. And then? Kat's voice went hard. Then we take her down. I called Margaret Reed from the boat, sat in the cabin with Robert's investigation files spread out in front of me, Mike standing guard on deck, and dialed the Portland number. She answered on the fourth ring. Her voice sounded tired, like she'd been expecting bad news for years. Hello? Mrs. Reed? My name is Carol Bennett. I'm calling because my son is married to a woman named Jessica Turner. She's using the name Amber now. Long silence. Then a heavy sigh that seemed to carry the weight of the world. I wondered when this call would come. My chest tightened. Can you tell me what happened? Margaret Reed was 74 years old. She told her story slowly, each word careful, like she'd been over it so many times that the edges had worn smooth. She met Jessica in the spring of 2019. Thomas, her son, was 53. His wife had died of cancer 3 years before. He was lonely, struggling. Jessica showed up at a community center where Margaret volunteered, helping organize events for seniors. She was charming, attentive, asked questions about Margaret's life, her late husband, her family. Then she started talking to Thomas. Casual conversations at first, coffee after volunteering, dinner once in a while. Thomas was vulnerable. Jessica made him feel seen again. They dated for 6 months. Got married in April 2019. Small ceremony, just family. Margaret had concerns from the start. Something felt off. The way Jessica asked questions about the house, about Margaret's finances, about her daily routine. Too many questions disguised as concern. But Thomas was happy. First time since his wife died. Margaret kept quiet. After the wedding, it started small. Jessica would comment, "Your mom seemed confused today. Did you notice?" Or, "She forgot my name again. Is that normal?" Thomas started noticing things he hadn't before. Normal aging, forgetting where she put her keys, mixing up days, suddenly looked like decline. Jessica would find articles about dementia. Leave them where Thomas would see. Articles about elderly falls, about injury risks, about the importance of professional care. Over 8 months, she built a case that Margaret wasn't safe living alone. Then she found a memory care facility. The best in Oregon, Jessica said. Top-rated. Beautiful grounds. Margaret would have her own apartment, full-time care, activities, $6,500 a month. Thomas couldn't afford it on his insurance adjuster salary. Jessica had the solution: sell Margaret's house. The one she'd lived in for 48 years. The one she and her late husband bought when Thomas was born. It sold for $340,000. The money went into a joint account with Jessica. Thomas convinced Margaret it was temporary, just until they figured out finances, just until Medicare kicked in. Margaret moved to the memory care facility in January 2020, 3 months after the wedding. She didn't want to go, cried the whole drive. But Thomas said it was for her safety. 2 weeks later, Jessica disappeared, cleaned out the account, every penny, changed her phone number, left no forwarding address. Thomas filed police reports, but the money was in a joint account. Technically legal. Margaret's voice cracked when she told me the next part. My son had to tell me there was no money, that I couldn't stay at that facility, that there was no house to go back to. I was 71 years old and I had nothing. She moved into a small apartment Thomas could afford, $800 a month, 1 bedroom. No garden, no space for her things. Most of her furniture went to storage, then eventually got sold to pay bills. I was fine, Margaret said. A little forgetful sometimes, but fine. I didn't need that place. I needed my home, she paused. Thomas blamed himself. Still does. He visits every Sunday, brings groceries. We don't talk about Jessica. Can't. It hurts too much. I'm so sorry, I said. Mrs. Bennett, whatever she's telling your son about you, don't believe it. Document everything. She'll start small. Little comments about you forgetting things, being tired. Then she'll escalate. Get ahead of it now. Did you ever report her? Beyond the police? Tried. Got a lawyer. But she was gone. No trace. Changed her name, probably. Moved states. Lawyer said unless she did it again and got caught, there was nothing we could do. She's done it again, I said. At least twice more. Maybe more. Margaret was quiet. Then, stop her. Please. Don't let her do to another family what she did to mine. After I hung up, I sat in the cabin for a long moment. Then I dialed the second number. Dorothy Hayes answered immediately, like she'd been waiting. Dorothy Hayes. Mrs. Hayes, my name is Carol Bennett. I'm calling about Jessica Turner. She was married to your son Walter. Jesus! Dorothy's voice went flat. How many of us are there? At least 3 that I know of. Maybe more. She got you too? She's trying to. Dorothy's story was different in details, but identical in pattern. She was 70 when Jessica married Walter in March 2021. Walter was 58, recently divorced, running his late father's auto repair shop. Jessica came into the shop for an oil change. Got talking with Walter. She was having car trouble, and Walter was kind. Fixed it for free. She came back with cookies to thank him. Then dinner. Then a relationship. Walter's friends said it was too fast. Dorothy had concerns. Something about Jessica felt rehearsed. But Walter was happy, and Dorothy didn't want to ruin it. They married 8 months later. After the wedding, Jessica suggested Walter sell the shop. It's too much stress, she said. Your dad ran it for 40 years. You've put in your time, sell it. We'll take the money, travel, start fresh. It made sense to Walter. He was tired. The shop needed updates he couldn't afford. A buyer offered $195,000. Walter took it. Money went into a joint account. But before they could travel, Jessica started commenting about Dorothy. She seemed slower lately, more tired. Have you noticed? Dorothy was fine. But Jessica created a narrative, found reasons why Dorothy needed help. Couldn't she barely climb stairs? Wasn't she forgetting appointments? What if something happened? Jessica found a senior living facility. Not memory care, Dorothy was too sharp for that. But assisted living. For safety. For peace of mind. 4200A, month Dorothy's house, a small bungalow. Walter grew up in, sold for $290,000. That money also went into the joint account. 3 days after the house sale cleared, Jessica was gone. Disappeared. The $485,000 from the shop and house sale vanished with her. Walter tracked her to Costa Rica through credit card records. By the time he got there, the money was gone. Laundered through multiple accounts. Impossible to recover. I live with Walter now, Dorothy said. In a 2-bedroom apartment. He sold everything he had left trying to get the money back. Lost it all chasing her, her voice hardened. She's a professional, Mrs. Bennett. She researches her targets for months before making contact. She knows everything about them before she even says hello. That's why she's so good. How did she find your son? Walter thinks it was through his father's obituary. She read the death notices, found single men with businesses and aging parents. Perfect targets. Did you report her? Filed everything we could. Police, FBI, lawyers. But she was gone. Used false identification to open the Costa Rica accounts. By the time anyone investigated, she disappeared completely. Dorothy paused. Does your son have access to your assets? She convinced him to sell my house. The money's in an account he and she control. Then you don't have much time. She'll move fast once she has the money. You need to act now. I'm working with a private investigator. We're building a case. Good. And Mrs. Bennett? When you catch her, and you will catch her, make sure it goes public. Make sure everyone knows her face, her pattern, her real name, so she can't do this again. After I hung up, Mike came down to the cabin, took one look at my face and sat beside me. That bad? Worse. I told him both stories. Mike's jaw tightened. She's done this at least 3 times. 3 families destroyed. Robert found evidence of 3. There might be more. How many families has she targeted that never figured it out? Never reported it? Just blamed themselves and moved on? I hadn't thought of that. The number could be higher. Could be dozens. What do we do? I asked. We meet Kat tomorrow. But tonight you need to go home. Act normal. Don't let Amber know anything's changed. Home. The word felt wrong. Derek and Amber's house wasn't home. I know. Mike squeezed my shoulder. But we need you inside. We need you watching, documenting. Can you do that? I looked at Robert's letter, still in my hand. I'm still protecting you. I can do it. Mike drove me back to Derek's house. Pulled up at the curb, but didn't turn off the engine. Carol, one more thing. That boat is yours now, legally. I bought it from Derek, but I'm signing it over to you. Robert wanted you to have it. Mike, you paid $12,000, and I got a priceless gift. The chance to repay Robert, to help his wife. That's worth more than money. He looked at me. Besides, that boat's got your name on the stern. It belongs to you. My throat tightened. Thank you. Thank Robert. He thought of everything. Inside the house, Amber was in the kitchen making smoothies. She looked up when I came in, all smiles. Carol, there you are. I was starting to worry. Just went for a walk. Long walk. She glanced at the clock. On 11:30, I'd been gone 4 hours. Needed to think. Of course. Her voice dripped sympathy. I know yesterday was hard. Derek feels terrible about the boat. But Carol, holding on to the past isn't healthy. Your therapist would agree. I didn't have a therapist. But Amber had been suggesting I needed one for months. Where's Derek? Work. He had an early meeting with a client. She poured green liquid into a glass. Want a smoothie? It's got kale, spirulina, really good for cognitive function. Cognitive function. The suggestion, subtle as always, that I was declining. No thank you. You sure? You've seemed tired lately, forgetful. It worries me. I looked at her. Really looked. She was 36 years old. Beautiful in that calculated way. Perfect hair, perfect makeup, perfect smile that never reached her eyes. And she was a predator. I'm fine, I said. Of course you are. She touched my arm. Her nails were coral, perfectly manicured. We just care about you. Want to make sure you're taking care of yourself. I excused myself. Went to my room, the guest room, and closed the door. Sat on the bed and took out my phone. I had Kat's number from Mike. Texted her, "This is Carol. Can we meet earlier than tomorrow? Tonight, if possible." Response came within seconds. Mike's office, 7 p.m. I'll be there. The rest of the day, I played the part. Made lunch. Did laundry. Pretended everything was normal. Amber was on her laptop at the kitchen table, working. I walked past several times, caught glimpses of her screen, real estate websites, Costa Rica property listings, resort photos, planning her escape. At 6:30, I told Amber I was meeting an old friend for dinner. Which friend? She asked, not looking up from her laptop. Helen Morrison. We worked together for years. Oh, Amber smiled. That's nice. You should stay social. Isolation isn't good at your age. Another subtle dig. I drove to Patterson Marine Brokerage. The office was in an industrial area near the shipyards. Mike's truck was already in the parking lot. So was a silver sedan I didn't recognize. Inside, Mike was sitting at a conference table with a woman I'd never met. She stood when I entered. Catherine Sullivan was 50 years old, tall, with short gray hair and sharp eyes that took in everything. She wore jeans and a leather jacket. Looked more like a biker than a private investigator. Carol. She shook my hand. Firm grip. I'm Kat. I'm so sorry about Robert. He was a good man. You worked with him. For 18 months. He hired me in March 2023, 2 months after Derek started dating Amber. Robert's instincts were good. He knew something was off. We sat. Kat opened a laptop, pulled up files. I've been monitoring Amber since Robert died, watching her digital footprint, tracking her movements. She's careful but not perfect. Kat turned the laptop so I could see. Browser history, screenshots, financial records. 3 months ago, she started researching assisted living facilities in the area. Sunset Meadows, Evergreen Senior Community, Harborview Care Center. She's building a list. My stomach turned. 2 months ago, she started posting in online forums about elderly care, using a fake account. Asking questions like, how do you convince a resistant parent they need help? And what are the legal steps to sell property for a parent's care? Kat clicked to another screen. She's also been researching Costa Rica extensively. Property laws, banking regulations, how to transfer money internationally without triggering reporting requirements. She's planning to run. She's always been planning to run. That's her endgame. Get the money, disappear, start over somewhere with no extradition treaty. How much time do we have? Kat pulled up a calendar. Based on her pattern with previous victims, I estimate 3 to 4 weeks. She sold the boat yesterday. That's her testing phase. She's checking Derek's compliance, seeing if he'll liquidate assets without too much resistance. What comes next? She'll escalate her campaign about you. More comments about your health, more evidence of decline. She might stage something, leave the stove on, claim you did it. Forget an appointment and say you made it. Little things that add up to a narrative of someone who can't live independently. Then she'll suggest assisted living. Exactly. She'll have brochures ready. We'll have toured facilities already. We'll present it as the loving, responsible choice. Derek will resist at first, but she'll wear him down. Mike leaned forward. How do we stop her? We need Derek to see the truth, Kat said. But he won't believe it coming from his mother. He'll think Carol is being defensive, paranoid. Amber will spin it that way. So how? He needs to discover it himself. And we need to document everything so when Amber makes her move, we have enough for criminal charges. Kat opened another file. I've been building the case Robert started. I've got records of her previous marriages, contact information for victims, financial forensics showing the pattern. But I need more. I need current evidence of fraud, theft, or identity theft. She's using a false identity, I said. Her real name is Jessica Turner. Right. But legally proving that's harder than you think. She's got documentation for the name Amber, driver's license, social security card, probably all forged or stolen, but they look legitimate. So what do? Kat looked at me. You go home. You document everything. Every comment she makes, every concern she expresses about your health, every time she looks at your financial information. Write it down, date it, time it. She'll know something's up if I start taking notes. Voice recorder. Kat pulled a small device from her bag. Keep this in your pocket. Record conversations. It's legal in Washington, one-party consent state. I took the recorder. It was smaller than a phone, could easily hide in a pocket. What else? Watch for her patterns. When does she use her laptop? When does she make calls? Does she have a second phone? I don't know. Find out. We need to catch her in the act. We need proof of current fraud, not just past victims. Mike spoke up. What about Derek? Do we try to warn him? Not yet, Kat said. If we push too hard, Amber will accelerate. She'll clean out the accounts and run before we can stop her. We need to wait until we have ironclad evidence. How long? 2 weeks, maybe 3. We need to catch her transferring money or using false identification. Something concrete. I thought about Derek. My son, sleeping next to a woman planning to destroy his life. He's going to be devastated. Yes, Kat said gently. But devastated is better than destroyed. If we don't stop her, she'll take everything and leave him with nothing but debt and shame. At least this way, he'll know the truth. We spent another hour going over the plan. Kat showed me how to use the recorder, how to document without being obvious, what to watch for. At 9 p.m., I drove home. The house was dark except for the living room. Through the window, I could see Derek and Amber on the couch watching TV, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her. He had no idea he was holding a predator. I sat in the car for a long moment, the recorder in my pocket, Robert's letter in my purse, and made myself walk inside. Derek looked up when I entered. Hey, Mom, how was dinner? Good. Helen says hello. That's nice. He smiled. Genuine, warm, my son. The boy I raised. We're watching a documentary about sailing. Made me think of Dad, all those years working on the boat. Amber's hand tightened on his arm. Just slightly. I'm tired, I said. Going to bed. Sleep well. Derek's voice was soft, caring. Amber just smiled. In my room, I locked the door. Pulled out the recorder and tested it. Worked perfectly. Then I sat at the small desk and started writing. Everything I could remember from the last 3 months. Every comment Amber made. Every suggestion. Every concern. The list grew. Pages of small manipulations, tiny lies, subtle suggestions that I was declining. I worked until midnight. Then I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Robert. He'd carried this burden for 2 years, alone. Investigated Amber while pretending everything was fine. Built a case while his heart literally broke under the strain. And he'd left me everything I needed to finish the fight. I touched the recorder in my pocket, thought about the boat with my name on it, about the safe with $275,000 cash, about the investigation file with 3 victims' stories. Amber thought she was hunting an isolated, grieving widow. She thought I was weak, vulnerable, an easy target. She had no idea I had an army. Robert's evidence, Mike's loyalty, Kat's expertise. And now, my own determination. I fell asleep planning. The next morning at breakfast, Amber was bright and cheerful. Carol, I've been thinking, you should see a doctor. Just a checkup. Make sure everything's okay. Derek looked up from his coffee. That's a good idea, Mom. When was your last physical? A few months ago. I'm fine. Still, Amber's voice was gentle, concerned. At your age, it's important to stay on top of things. I can make you an appointment if you'd like. Dr. Morrison at Cascade Family Practice is wonderful. The recorder was in my pocket, running. I have a doctor. Of course. I just thought a second opinion. I don't need a second opinion. Amber's smile didn't falter. Just trying to help. After Derek left for work, Amber sat at the kitchen table with her laptop. I did dishes, watching her in the reflection of the window. She was on a banking website. Our bank. The account with my house money. She clicked through screens quickly, but I caught glimpses. Account balance, $320,000. Transfer options. International wire services. She was planning the theft. Right there, right in front of me. My hands shook washing a plate. I steadied them. When she went upstairs to shower, I texted Kat. She's accessing the account. Planning transfer. Response? Good. Keep watching. We need her to actually move money. That's when we can prove fraud. How much longer? Soon, she's getting ready. Be patient. But patience was hard when watching someone plan to rob you. That afternoon, I went back to the boat. Needed to feel close to Robert. Mike let me in, didn't ask questions. I sat in the cabin surrounded by Robert's work and cried. Not for myself. For him. For carrying this burden alone. For dying before he could finish protecting me. I'm finishing it, I whispered to the empty cabin. I promise. I'm finishing what you started. The boat rocked gently in its slip. Outside seagulls called. Water lapped against the hull, and I felt Robert there. Not literally, but his presence in every repair, every careful detail, every inch of this boat he'd spent 15 years restoring. Carol's dream. He'd named it after our dream. Our retirement, our future together. That future was gone now. But I could still finish his fight. I stayed on the boat until evening. When I got back to the house, Derek was home early. He looked stressed, sitting at the dining table with papers spread out. Everything okay? I asked. Just bills. He rubbed his face. Some charges I don't remember making. Credit cards I didn't know I had. My pulse quickened. What do you mean? 3 cards in my name. Balances totaling about $48,000. I don't remember opening them. Amber appeared from the kitchen. Honey, those are the business cards I told you about. For my consulting work. Remember? Derek looked uncertain. Did you tell me? Of course I did. Last month. You said it was fine. Her voice was patient. Understanding. You've been so stressed with work. It's understandable you forgot. I guess. Don't worry about it. My consulting fees will cover the payments. It's all under control. Derek nodded slowly. Wanted to believe her, but I saw the doubt in his eyes. Small, but there. The cracks were starting to show. That night, I texted Kat. Derek's finding credit cards he didn't open. 48K debt, good. That's fraud. Document everything. We're getting close. 2 days later, Derek came to me privately. Amber was out shopping. Mom, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you think Dad liked Amber? The question surprised me. Why do you ask? Something's been bothering me. That last Christmas before he died, Dad pulled me aside, asked me questions about Amber, where we met, how long we'd known each other, about her family, her background. Derek frowned. At the time, I thought he was just being protective. But now, I don't know. What else did he say? He asked if I was sure about getting married, said some things couldn't be rushed, that I should take my time. Derek looked at me. I got defensive, told him to back off, that he needed to trust my choices. Derek, we argued. Pretty badly. It was the last real conversation we had before the heart attack. His voice cracked. I never apologized. Never got to tell him I understood he was just looking out for me. I wanted to tell him. Wanted to pull out Robert's letter and show him everything. But Kat's warning echoed. If we push too hard, she'll run. Your father loved you, I said instead. He wanted you to be happy, I know. I just wish, he trailed off. Never mind. That evening, Amber announced they were taking a trip. Just a weekend, she said over dinner. Maldives planning session, looking at resorts. Derek needs this. He's been so stressed, she looked at me. Carol, you'll be fine alone for a few days, right? Or we could ask Helen to check on you. The suggestion I couldn't be alone. The implication I needed checking on. I'll be fine. Are you sure? I worry about you here by yourself, Amber, Derek said quietly. Mom's not a child. Amber's smile tightened. Just for a second. Of course not. I just care. They left Friday morning. I watched them drive away, then immediately called Kat. They're gone for the weekend. Perfect. Can you get into Amber's things? Laptop, phone, anything she left? She took her phone. Laptop's here. Search it. Photograph everything. Send it to me. I spent Friday afternoon going through Amber's laptop. Found browsing history she'd tried to delete, but hadn't fully erased. Costa Rica real estate. $450,000 Ocean View Villa, purchased 2 weeks ago. Under a different name. Maria Gonzalez. She already had an escape plan. A house. A new identity waiting. Bank transfer instructions, saved in drafts, move $320,000 to international account, route through 3 banks to avoid detection, and searches. How long does international wire transfer take? Can police track money to Costa Rica? Countries without extradition treaties. I photographed everything. Sent it to Kat. Her response came fast. This is it. This is what we need. She's planning to move the money in the next week. We need to set the trap. How? Let her make the transfer. We'll have police ready to arrest her the moment she tries to leave the country. But Carol, we need Derek to see this, to understand. Can you get him alone Monday? Before she can run? I'll try. The weekend dragged. I stayed at the boat. Couldn't be in that house alone. Mike checked on me Saturday evening. You okay? Getting there. Kat says you found proof. Enough to put her away. I hope. Sunday night, Derek and Amber came home. They looked tanned, relaxed. Amber showed me resort photos on her phone. It's going to be perfect, she gushed. 2 weeks in paradise. We deserve this. Derek smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Something was bothering him. Monday morning, I caught him alone in the garage. Derek, I need to talk to you. Privately. It's important. About what? Your father, please just give me an hour. He looked uncertain. Mom, if this is about Amber again, it's about your father. Please. Something in my voice convinced him. Okay, coffee? That place on Harbor Street? 1 hour. And Derek? Don't tell Amber. I saw the conflict in his face. But he nodded. We met at 10 a.m. at a quiet coffee shop. I brought Robert's letter, the investigation file. All of it. Derek read in silence. I watched his face change. Disbelief, confusion, denial, horror. When he finished, his hands were shaking. This can't be real. It is. Dad was investigating Amber for 2 years? He was trying to protect you. Protect me. He died before he could finish. Derek stared at the marriage certificates. At Amber, Jessica, standing with 3 different men at 3 different weddings. I need to call them, he whispered. Thomas, Walter, I need to hear it from them. Do it. He pulled out his phone. I gave him the numbers. He called Thomas Reed first. Derek's hands shook as he dialed Thomas Reed's number. I'd given him Robert's contact list. He sat across from me in the coffee shop. The investigation file spread between us like evidence at a trial. Thomas answered on the 3rd ring. Hello? Mr. Reed? My name is Derek Bennett. I'm married to Jessica Turner. She's using the name Amber now. Silence. Then a long, pained exhale. Jesus Christ. Another one. Derek's face went pale. My father. Before he died, he was investigating her. He left evidence. Marriage certificates. I needed to hear it from you. To know if it's real. It's real, son. Every word of it's real, Thomas told his story. Derek listened, his face draining of color with every sentence. When Thomas finished, Derek could barely speak. Your mother. She lost her house? $340,000. Jessica, or Amber, or whatever she calls herself now. She convinced me my mother had dementia, that she needed professional care. We sold the house to pay for it. 2 weeks later, Jessica was gone with every penny. Derek's voice cracked. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. You're a victim too. Just stop her before she does to you what she did to me. After he hung up, Derek sat staring at nothing. His coffee had gone cold. Call the other one, I said quietly. Walter Hayes. Derek dialed with shaking fingers. Walter's story was the same. Different details, identical pattern. His father's auto repair shop. His mother's house. $485,000 stolen. Walter tracked her to Costa Rica, but the money was gone, laundered through accounts he could never access. When Derek hung up, he looked destroyed. Oh God, Mom, what have I done? You were manipulated. Your father understood that. I sold his boat for $12,000 so she could go to the Maldives. His voice broke. I sold 15 years of his work because she said we needed it. And the whole time she was planning, he couldn't finish. Derek, there's more you need to know. I showed him Kat's evidence from Amber's laptop. The Costa Rica house. The transfer instructions for my $320,000. The search is about avoiding detection. She bought a house? In Costa Rica, 2 weeks ago. Under the name Maria Gonzalez. She has a new identity ready. Derek stood up abruptly. Chair scraped loud against the floor. I need to go home. I need to confront her. No. I grabbed his arm. Not yet. If you confront her now, she'll run. We need the police ready. The police? She's committed fraud. Identity theft. We have evidence. But Derek, we need her to make her move so we can prove intent. Kat says she's planning to transfer the money this week. Derek's jaw tightened. So we just let her? We let her try. Then we stop her. He looked at me. Really looked. Saw something he hadn't seen in months. His mother. Strong. Determined. What do I do? Go home. Act normal. Don't tell her about this meeting. Tonight, Kat and Detective Martinez will brief you. They'll wire you with a recording device. They need you to get her talking. To admit what she's planning. I don't know if I can do that. Look at her and pretend you can. Because if you don't, she'll destroy another family. And another. This ends with us, Derek. We finish what your father started. Derek nodded slowly. Picked up the investigation file. Can I keep this? I want to read everything. Everything Dad found. It's yours. He left. I watched him walk to his car, shoulders hunched, carrying the weight of the truth. Then I called Kat. He knows. How'd he take it? He's devastated, but he's ready to help. Good. I've got Detective Martinez lined up. We're meeting at your house tonight. 7 p.m. Amber will be out. She's got that Maldives planning meeting with a travel agent. How do you know that? I've been monitoring her calendar. She thinks it's private. Kat's voice hardened. Carol, we're close. One more day, maybe 2, then we take her down. That evening at 7, Derek let Kat and Detective Martinez into the house. Amber was at her meeting. Wouldn't be back until 9. Ray Martinez was 45, a fraud specialist with the Washington State Police. He'd seen Kat's evidence, reviewed Robert's investigation. Now he was briefing Derek. Mr. Bennett, what your wife is planning constitutes multiple felonies. Wire fraud, identity theft, theft by deception. With the evidence we have, plus statements from previous victims, we can arrest her. When? We need to catch her in the act. She needs to attempt the money transfer. Then we move. Martinez pulled out a small recording device. You'll wear this. It's voice-activated. We need you to engage her in conversation tomorrow. Get her talking about the money, the trip, her plans. What do I say? Ask about the timeline. Say you're worried about leaving your mother alone for 2 weeks. See how she responds. She'll likely push back, suggest solutions. Like putting Mom in assisted living? Exactly. We need her to say it. To lay out her plan on tape. Derek took the device. Looked at it like it was a bomb. What if she figures it out? She won't. This is professional grade, undetectable. Martinez leaned forward. Derek, I know this is hard, but you're doing the right thing. After they left, Derek and I sat in the living room. The house felt different, like we were soldiers in enemy territory. I can't believe I brought her into our lives, Derek said quietly. Into Dad's life. If I hadn't... Stop. Your father didn't blame you. Neither do I. He tried to warn me. That last Christmas. I told him to back off. Derek's hands fisted. I chose her over him. You didn't know. She's a professional. She's done this at least 3 times that we know of. Maybe more. How were you supposed to see through that? Dad did. Your father was a brilliant man. And even he needed 2 years and a private investigator to prove it. Derek looked at me. Do you think the stress killed him? The investigation, keeping secrets, carrying that burden? I'd wondered the same thing. I think your father's heart gave out. I don't know why. But Derek, he left us everything we needed to finish this. That's what matters now. I loved her, Mom. His voice broke. I really loved her. Or who I thought she was. I know. We sat in silence. Outside, headlights swept across the window. Amber's car in the driveway. She's back, Derek whispered. I don't know if I can... You can. For your father. For all the families she's destroyed. You can. Amber came in all smiles. The planning meeting was amazing. The resort has this private beach excursion. Oh, Derek, you're home early. She kissed him. Derek managed to kiss her back. How was your day? She asked, setting down her purse. Good. Busy. His voice almost steady. Mom and I had coffee. Amber's smile tightened slightly. That's nice. What did you talk about? Dad, the boat, memories. Of course. She touched his arm. Carol, you must miss Robert terribly. I wanted to slap her. Every day? Well, we're here for you. You know that. She looked at Derek. Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you both about something. The Maldives trip is 2 weeks. That's a long time to leave Carol alone. Here it comes. I'm fine, I said. Of course you are. But Derek, what if something happened while we're gone? I'd feel terrible. She pulled a brochure from her purse. I visited Sunset Meadows yesterday. Just to look. They have short-term respite care. Beautiful facility. Carol could stay there while we're away. Professional care, activities, safety. Derek's jaw tightened. Mom doesn't need a care facility. I didn't say she needs it. I said it's an option. For peace of mind. Amber's voice stayed gentle, reasonable. Carol, you'd have your own room. 3 meals a day. It's really lovely. I'm not going to a facility. Well, let's not decide now. Just think about it. She smiled. Derek, can I talk to you upstairs? About the trip? They went up. I stayed on the couch, heart pounding. 20 minutes later, Derek came down alone. Looked shaken. After Amber went to bed, he found me in the kitchen. She's pushing hard for the facility, he whispered. Says she already put down a deposit. $5,000. Says you'd only be there 2 weeks while we're in the Maldives. Did you agree? I said I'd think about it. He rubbed his face. Mom, she's already planning it. Already paid. She's moving faster than we thought. I texted Kat. Amber pushing care facility. Already paid deposit. Response came fast. That's the setup. She'll use that to justify selling house. Carol needs ongoing care. House pays for it. We need to move tomorrow. Can Derek get her talking? Yes. The next morning, Derek wore the wire. Martinez and Kat were parked 2 blocks away, listening. Derek found Amber in her office. Hey, can we talk about the Maldives? About the money? She looked up from her laptop. What about it? The trip's expensive, like really expensive. And with my credit card debt, those cards I didn't know about. Business cards. For my consulting. Right, but the balances are $48,000. I'm worried about cash flow. Amber's expression hardened slightly. Derek, we've been over this. My consulting income covers it, but we haven't seen any income. I'm not criticizing, I just want to understand the plan. The plan is we take the Maldives trip we've been planning for months. We deserve it. She softened her tone. Baby, you've been so stressed. This trip is necessary. For us. What about Mom? The facility's $5,000 for 2 weeks. That's on top of everything else. It's an investment in her safety. But if she only needs it for 2 weeks? Derek. Amber stood, walked to him, put her hands on his chest. Your mother isn't safe living independently. I know that's hard to hear. But she's declining. The forgetfulness, the confusion. She needs professional care. She seems fine to me. You don't see what I see. I'm here with her all day. The little things. Forgetting where she put things. Getting confused about days. It's getting worse. So what are you saying? I'm saying 2 weeks at Sunset Meadows might turn into longer. And that's okay. That's what the facility is for. And the cost? Amber hesitated. Just a fraction of a second. Your mother has assets. The house sale money. That can cover her care. That's her money. And it should be used for her care, don't you think? We're not going to let her live with us forever, Derek. That's not sustainable. Her voice hardened. She's not our responsibility. She needs professional help. Derek's voice went cold. She's my mother, and I'm your wife. We need to think about our future, our life together. Amber touched his face. Baby, I know this is hard. But sometimes love means making tough decisions. Like using Mom's money to pay for her care? Yes, exactly. And what about after? When the care's paid for, what happens to the rest? Then we use it to build our life, travel, maybe buy that condo in Costa Rica we've been looking at. Derek froze. Costa Rica? Amber caught herself. I mean, someday. As an investment. I saw some properties online. What properties? Just looking. I haven't bought anything. Her voice went defensive. Why are you interrogating me? I'm not. I'm just trying to understand our financial situation. Well, stop worrying. I have it handled. Trust me. Derek looked at her. Really looked? I do trust you. Of course I trust you. She relaxed, smiled. Good. Now let's finish planning our trip. 2 weeks from today, we'll be on a beach in the Maldives. Just us. Derek left the room, came down to find me. His face was pale. Did you get it? I whispered. He nodded. 10 minutes later, Kat texted, We got everything. Her admission about using your money. The Costa Rica slip. It's enough. Martinez is getting the warrant now. When tomorrow? She's booked a flight to Costa Rica Friday morning, 6 a.m. departure. We'll arrest her at the airport. What about the money? We've frozen the accounts. She can't move anything. It's over, Carol. We got her. Thursday dragged. Amber was on her laptop all day, typing furiously. Booking flights. Confirming the Maldives resort. Checking account balances. Planning her escape. Derek stayed at work late. Couldn't face her. That evening, Amber was cheerful. Derek, I've been thinking. Let's move the Maldives trip up. Leave Sunday instead of 2 weeks from now. The resort has availability. Sunday? That's in 3 days. I know. Spontaneous. She laughed. Come on, where's your sense of adventure? What about Mom? The facility doesn't have her room ready until next week. She'll be fine here alone for a few days. Right, Carol? I forced a smile. Of course. That night, Kat called. She's panicking, moving the timeline up. But it doesn't matter. We're taking her tomorrow. Friday morning at 4:30 a.m., Derek and I met Kat and Martinez at a Denny's near the airport. She's planning to leave on the 6 a.m. flight to Costa Rica, Martinez said. Not the Maldives. Costa Rica. That was always the end game. What about Derek's trip? The Maldives resort? Fake. She never actually booked it. Just showed him confirmation emails she created. He was never going to the Maldives. Derek looked sick. She was leaving me? She was leaving everyone. New identity, new country, $320,000 in offshore accounts. But we froze the accounts. She doesn't know that yet. As far as she knows, she moved the money yesterday. She's probably checking balances now, thinking she's home free. Martinez looked at Derek. Your wife is a professional con artist. Her real name is Jessica Turner. She's wanted in 2 states. This is who she is. This is what she does. Derek just stared at his coffee. At 5:15 a.m., we drove to the airport, positioned ourselves where we could see, but not be seen. Amber arrived at 5:35, 2 large suitcases, designer coat, sunglasses even in the pre-dawn dark. She looked calm, confident. She checked in at the counter, got her boarding pass, walked toward security. That's when Martinez and 2 other officers moved in. Amber Bennett? She turned, saw the badges. For just a second, her mask slipped. Pure rage flashed across her face. Then she smiled. Yes? Is something wrong? We have a warrant for your arrest. Jessica Turner, also known as Amber Bennett, you're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, and theft by deception. I don't know what you're talking about. My name is Amber Bennett. Your real name is Jessica Turner. You're wanted in Arizona and Florida for similar crimes. Amber looked around, calculating. The exits were blocked. She ran anyway, kicked off her heels, sprinted across the terminal in stockings. Airport security tackled her at the departure board. She fought, screaming, kicking, "Get off me. I haven't done anything. This is a mistake." They cuffed her. Read her rights while she thrashed on the floor. That's when she saw us. Derek, me, Kat, standing 30 feet away. She went still. Then her face transformed. Pure hatred. You! She spat at Derek. You pathetic, weak coward. You really thought I loved you? You were a mark. That's all. And you fell for every word. Derek flinched. You were so easy. So desperate for someone to love you. Your dead father's boat? She laughed. Cruel. I sold that piece of junk for 12 grand and you didn't even question it. Martinez tried to pull her away. She lunged toward me. And you, old woman. You should have stayed invisible. Should have gone to that facility. Should have died quietly. Now you've ruined everything. Officers dragged her away. She was still screaming threats as they took her through security doors. Then she was gone. Derek stood frozen. I put my arm around him. Let's go home, I said. 3 months later, Amber took a plea deal. Real name, Jessica Turner. 5 previous victims, not 3. 8 years of cons. $1.8 million stolen total. Sentence, 15 years federal prison. Derek's marriage was annulled. Fraud made it void from the start. My $320,000 was recovered. The Costa Rica house seized. Derek moved into a small apartment downtown. Started therapy twice a week. Some days he was okay. Some days he barely spoke. 6 months after the arrest, I took him to the marina. The boat sat in Slip 47, gleaming in morning sun. Mike signed it over to me, I said. But Derek, it's half yours. Your father wanted us to share it. I don't deserve— Stop, your father left a letter. Want to read it? I showed him Robert's words. The part about Derek being a victim. About not blaming him. Derek broke down on the dock. I held him while he cried. I'm so sorry, Dad, he whispered. I'm so sorry I didn't listen. We started going to the boat every Saturday. Following Robert's restoration journal. Checking systems. Maintaining the teak. Learning together. Slowly Derek healed. 1 year after Amber's arrest, we took the boat out. Just a short trip around the bay. Derek handled the helm. I sat on deck feeling the sun and wind. Dad would love this, Derek said. He's here. In every inch of this boat. We sailed past the shipyards, past the marina, out toward open water. Robert had named it Carol's dream. But it was all of our dreams. His work, my freedom. Derek's healing. At sunset, we anchored in a quiet cove. Derek pulled out the urn we'd brought. Robert's ashes, you ready? I asked. He nodded. Together we scattered Robert into the water. Into the place he loved. Thank you, Dad, Derek whispered. For protecting us. For not giving up. For loving us enough to fight. The ashes caught the light. Drifted on the current. Became part of the sea. And I felt Robert there. Not literally, but in the boat beneath us. In the investigation that saved us. In the love that survived death. I finished it, I said to the water, to the sky, to wherever Robert was. I finished what you started. We sailed home as stars came out. The boat handled perfectly. 15 years of Robert's work, carrying us safely home. Back at the dock, Derek helped me tie up. We stood there looking at the boat. Mom? Can I tell you something? Anything. I'm going to be okay. I don't know when. But someday, I'm going to be okay. I know you will. Because of Dad. Because he taught us to fight, to protect each other, To never give up, I hugged my son. My beautiful, broken, healing son. 2 years after the arrest, I'm 71. Derek is 42. We sail every weekend the weather allows. He's dating again. Carefully, slowly, with his eyes open. I'm living in a small condo near the marina, independent, secure, free. The boat sits in slip 47, Carol's dream painted on the stern. And sometimes when I'm alone on the water, I talk to Robert. Tell him about Derek's progress, about the sunset I just saw, about how the boat handles. Thank him for the 15 years he spent building our dream. Thank him for the 2 years he spent protecting it. Thank him for loving me enough to save my life after he was gone. The boat rocks gently beneath me. Seagulls call. Water laps against the hull. And I feel him. In every repair, every detail, every inch of this boat he built with his hands and his heart. I love you, Robert. I whisper to the wind. Forever, the boat rocks. The water answers. And somewhere I know he hears me, because love like ours doesn't end with death. It endures. Like this boat, like his protection, like the dream we built together, forever. If this story moved you, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps me continue sharing stories that uncover the hidden truths of everyday life. There are so many more untold stories waiting to be revealed. Thank you for being here. Now tell me, what would you have done if you were in their place? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share them with me in the comments below. On the screen, you can see 2 more life stories I strongly recommend. There are many more waiting on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story.